Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is our spoiler-filled review of Game of Thrones. The first major blow of the Battle of the Seven Kingdoms was delivered tonight. And for an episode that was really built to be a setup for what's about to come, pretty good episode.
Yep.
But we want to run over it, all the stuff that kind of happened, and try to give you some feedback on what's going on.
Sure.
At least as much as we understand it. Are you ready?
Sure.
Here we go.
So the opening act is at Dragonstone, and Daenerys is talking with Varys.
Right.
And why should I trust you? And ultimately ends up bringing him on, and with him comes the Greyjoys and the Dorne and the Tyrells.
Yes.
So that was pretty important. She's got some more people besides just the Unsullied and the Dothraki with her now,
right?
Because it's some more legitimacy,
and a little bit more. And she can. One of the things I got out of that scene too was the respect that they all had for her, and not just her, but for Tyrion.
Yeah.
Tyrion.
Yeah.
And he is the hand of the queen, and is now kind of being the one like, this is what we're doing, and this is what the queen says, and they all kind of went along with it.
Yeah, but he was definitely sticking up for Varys, which is funny because they've had a love-hate relationship the entire show.
Right.
But ultimately they have respect for each other and they like each other, and Tyrion was sticking up for him, going, he's been there for me and he'll be there for you. And
right.
So,
and that was a big thing. The other thing I liked about that scene too was they kind of just picked up from where the last episode, Dragonstone, had ended.
Right.
Where they were in the command center, the room where they're making all the planning with the giant map of Westeros, and they kind of picked up, not exactly right after, but at least where it made sense in the timeline. Like, everybody had gotten together, this is our plan, do you guys go along with the plan, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and this episode's called Stormborn.
Stormborn, yes.
Because Daenerys was born in a storm. Apparently, in that room, there was a storm going on. So,
right.
Daenerys Stormborn. So then we get... and I had picked up in Varys's... his speech to kind of win over Daenerys, when he was talking about, I was, I didn't come from money. I was, I was a child on the streets.
Yeah.
And, we learned his story a couple seasons ago where he was kind of taken in by this guy who ended up, cutting his penis off, and so now he's a eunuch, and he was a slave, and they had done a shot while he was doing that. They did this long shot of Grey Worm, and then of Missandei, the girl. So Grey Worm was the eunuch, and Missandei is the slave. And I just thought that was a very interesting shot that they, kind of did these long shots on the two of them.
The other thing too was, and we said spoilers, but I don't know if this is really a spoiler yet, but it is actually something that they made. Tyrion made the decision to do a battle on two fronts.
Right.
And they split the army and had it go kind of in two different directions. I don't know if you had that in your notes, but
yeah, we're not there yet.
We're not there. That scene is, I think that's important for what's going to happen, what's going to come up.
With the shot of the two of them?
No. The splitting your army into having it on two fronts, and I think that's going to be important. We'll kind of get into that in a minute.
Okay. So then Melisandre, somebody comes in the room, says a red woman is here to see you. A red something, they don't call her the Red Witch. And it's Melisandre. So she's back, and Daenerys goes down and meets with her, and they have this conversation where ultimately Melisandre kind of lets her know, hey, you need to join up with Jon, and she tells her about the prophecy, and she says it in whatever
kind
language.
Of prophecy.
It's the prophecy that Melisandre's been working off of.
Right.
With Robert Baratheon, and this is what got him and his whole family killed, was this whole prophecy, which Melisandre has now decided wasn't Robert Baratheon. It's now she's alluded to it being Jon, and now she's alluding to it being Daenerys. So, and they've kind of, she said, well, it's translated in, the prince, and then Missandei says, no, that's actually not the correct translation. There is no gender to the word, so it could mean prince or princess. Lending to Daenerys' a little bit of her vanity there, hey, it could be you. And so ultimately they decide, Daenerys tells Tyrion, send a raven to Jon, he needs to come, basically we're going to join forces. He's going to come meet his queen and take a knee. Which
is what Cersei sent in the last episode.
Right.
You're going to bend a knee and succumb to my will, essentially.
Queen. Yeah.
Luckily, and if you know Jon,
that's not going to work. Luckily, Tyrion does know Jon. The two of them went to the wall together. So Tyrion has sent the raven, but he has calmed the words. He has not said, come meet your queen and bow to her. He has said it more politely. So now, Jon gets that raven. We'll get to there in a minute. Okay. I guess that was the next scene, was them getting
to Winterfell.
They get the raven from Tyrion, and they also mention very quickly that fire can kill White Walkers, and that has
dragon fire.
No, they just said fire.
They said
fire kills whites, is what he said, and so that's implying that the dragons could definitely help them. Besides the dragon glass, the dragons could help them in killing the White Walkers. Right. So that's definitely, going to bring Jon over to that side. So then they go to King's Landing. Cersei's meeting with several houses. We really only get the Tarleys. It seemed maybe there were a couple of houses there, but the Tarleys were the only ones that they ever called out.
Well, they talked about in the last episode where there's only 3 kingdoms, 3 households that are actually with them, that Jaime was having the conversation with her, and then they show that again in the Situation Room at Dragonstone. So
this may be the other 3, but again, they only called out the Tarleys.
Right.
They allude to the fact that they have something that will beat the dragons, because the houses are like, we can't ever, beat Daenerys, although they were calling her by her Targaryen name, and I don't remember what that was, but, and Cersei's little black magic guy.
I don't know.
I don't know what his name is,
but he's also like, kind of like this secretive kind of.
He's almost like the Maester.
He's almost like Maester. I was gonna say like the secretive hand of the queen, but but it's not really what he is. So
the one who made the mountain.
Yeah.
He kind of alludes to, we got that taken care of. So then Jaime works with Randall Tarley to join the House Lannister. So we didn't get specific confirmation that that's what they're gonna do, but I think that the Tarleys are going to forsake the Tyrells and go with the Lannisters. They're probably gonna, because I mean, Jaime was like, there's position for you when this all shakes out.
He asked him to be was it the general?
Yeah,
the grand something. Yeah. I think it was like the general or something like that of everything. So that was kind of a, like, I don't know if really Jaime has that power to make that decision, but he did it anyways.
He's gonna pretend he does.
He's gonna pretend he does, and at least for right now, abuse that thought process of other people that he does have that power.
Yeah.
For now,
it's still a question to everybody else. They're not, they're like, oh, Cersei's the queen. How's that working?
Right.
You should probably be the king because you're the guy, even though you only have one hand. So yeah. So then we go to the Citadel with Jorah Mormont. Sam has, I don't know, said something to somebody. Hey, bring this guy needs to be examined. I don't know.
Let's try to help him out or something.
Yeah. So he's being examined, and they're basically telling him, he's telling Ebros, hey, I can fix this. I found documentation. Pyrrhus, Maester Pyrrhus has done, some studies, and they've he was able to fix grayscale, and he's like, nobody can fix grayscale. And do you know what this guy died of? He died of grayscale. So kind of
it's fine.
Kind of squashing Sam's, hopes and dreams.
He's been doing that the whole way too. As soon as Sam has gotten there, he's kind of been like, no, we don't think that way. No, this is the way we do it. You can't do it that way. You can't think that way. You can't look at these books. You can't do that. And Sam's been kind of...
He's like, you don't know me.
Right.
I killed a White Walker.
Well, it's... Sam's coming... I like it because Sam's coming from the... I've had to deal with the real world stuff, and you all have been inside this little building and not knowing what's going on in the outside world. Yeah. And so, screw your rules. I'm going to figure out what it is.
And I don't have time for your rules.
Right.
This stuff's happening right now. We got to get going.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was awesome. So Daenerys meets with the Greyjoys, the Dorne, and the Tyrells, and that's when they have the meeting where Tyrion's like, okay, so we're gonna go in. You guys are all gonna go in, and you're going to basically block off King's Landing, and not necessarily attack, but not allow supplies and stuff to get in. And so you're gonna kind of starve them out. And they're all like, okay, sure, you're gonna send us in to do the dirty work, but you've got Dothraki and Unsullied. What are they gonna do? And he's like, they're gonna go around to Casterly Rock, which is the seat of King's Landing, and take them from that side. So that's the
multi-sided battle, and I liked it because all of them like stopped and they panned to each of the people in the scene, and you could see each of them kind of like the light bulb going off in their head, like, oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're doing here. So, although I like the general plan, strategically taking your giant army and splitting it and having it in two fronts, not a great idea. Ask the Germans, or the French, or the Russians, or...
But they didn't have dragons.
That's true, they didn't have dragons.
So, Grey Worm and Missandei, they finally kiss, and do what?
I'm gonna make you smile!
And I want to know where he learned how to do that, because he doesn't have... When did he learn how to...
Well, if he hasn't had it, you have to learn certain things along the way that... Really what I want to talk about is the fact that they've been hitting on that for a year and a half.
Oh, I know.
And they make a really cute couple. I'm that guy. They make a really cute couple on the show. It makes sense because they've both kind of been through the same...
Right, they were both slaves.
Both slaves.
Yes.
They're both serving a queen that they both adore. They have similar view of the world, and it makes sense with the two of them together. So finally...
They're just missing a penis between the two of them.
Well,
which works out for lesbians, so I guess it could work out for them.
Yeah. But I just love the scene where he was just like, he was saying when they were when they were as kids, they would the masters would always find whatever that person was afraid of. If they were afraid of the ocean or the water, they would throw them in the ocean. If they survived, great. They were stronger people. If they didn't, it didn't matter to them. If you were afraid of dogs, you're afraid of the dark, or whatever it was. And he was always the bravest, but his weakness has always been her.
Yeah.
Which is a great line, by the way. and she's like, I don't like. She didn't understand until he kind of explained it. Like, his way of saying "I have always loved you" was the scene. And so he goes over and he kisses her, and she stops him, and she backs up and pulls the string out. Like, the whole dress falls down. She's like, "Oh yeah, I understand now." It's like, I've been secretly hoping for that to happen for like a year, for at least a season.
Aww.
It's like, come on, get it done.
Aww.
Go. They're all going off the battle in different directions.
That's true. It might be the last time.
Yeah.
Might be the last time you get to do this.
Yeah.
So, so now we go back to Sam and Jorah at the Citadel, and they have told Sam, nope, you can't do this, and Sam says, screw you, I'm doing it anyway. So Sam comes into Jorah's room with a cart full of implements of destruction, and announces to Jorah that he knows how to cure him, and he's gonna do it. And Jorah's like, have you ever done this before? And he's like, nope. And he's got a flask of rum, and he tells Jorah, drink all this because it's gonna hurt a lot. And then he takes it from him, and he takes a drink because he doesn't.
I love when they do that.
He doesn't know what he's doing. He's like, okay, I'm scared.
I gotta calm my own nerves.
Yeah, and then has him bite down, and so basically is gonna peel the grayscale off. They
pull the first piece off, so it's on his chest.
Chunk.
This big, huge chest piece that's on him, and he's like, biting down. He's trying to scream. He's he's a knight. I mean, come on, he's a badass. We've all seen him throughout the series be a badass, so he understands. But he's pulling essentially a skin off of his body.
Yeah. And
so he's cutting back and peeling and cutting back, and he pauses. And he kind of turns and looks at Sam like, oh my god. And Sam's like, are you okay? I don't care. And he just starts cutting. But there's pus running the whole time. Are you going to get into this?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So there's, like, it's grayscale. So it's like essentially the hardening of the skin and then peeling off. And there's pus running. And so Sam kind of starts cutting back, and he stops again. And they do this shot where they follow the knife into the pus. And pull and start cutting through, and they pan back, and it's a bowl of soup.
It's like a pot pie.
It's like a pot pie or something like that. It's this great transition, but both of us were like, "Oh, that's 2 weeks in a row, fuckers."
Yeah. So soup is now poop, and pot pie is now grayscale.
Grayscale pus.
Don't watch Game of Thrones and eat dinner at the same time. It's a bad idea.
It's dinner time for us on the West Coast, but the East Coast is after dinner, so you're okay.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah. So they cut to the pot pie, which is in some tavern that Arya is at, and we have Hot Pie. Hot Pie is back. I'm happy that he survived. He's from a couple of seasons ago, many seasons ago, when Arya was pretending to be a boy and was kind of enslaved with a bunch of other boys. So he has made it, and he is feeding her, and he's kind of trying to find out what's been going on with her. It's been a couple years. How's it going? What's been going on? And asks her where she's going. She says she's going to King's Landing because Cersei is queen now. And he's like, oh, well, I thought you'd be going to Winterfell. And she's like, why would I go to Winterfell when...
Baratheon's still on it, right?
No, not... oh, my God. Anyway, the bad... I can't think of what their names
Ramsay's family.
Ramsay, yeah. Ramsay... anyway, Ramsay's people still have it. And he's like, nope. Jon Snow came in, the Battle of the Bastards, and now he's got it. And she's like, what? So she left, she got on her horse, left, and now she's going north. She's not going to King's Landing anymore.
Which makes sense.
Right. So your theory is...
My theory is she's going north so is the Hound and the Brothers Without Banners. And they're all going to meet up with each other, which is going to make for a really awkward episode, or really a really awkward moment within that episode. But they're all going to get together and end up at Winterfell together. And then Jon's going to come back from Dragonstone and say, I don't know if I have a theory of if he's going to get help or not or whatever. But I think that whole group with Arya and the Hound and Brothers Without Banners or whatever, they're going to be the advanced scouts to go out and find out what's going on. We saw in the trailer that there's a scene where they all circle together. All of them end up being circled together, backs to each other to fight. So I think they actually go to the wall, or maybe north of the wall, to find out what's going on, to find out where the army is. And then that's kind of going to be... I still think she's going to end up with a throne. That's the other theory I have, but that's...
Yeah, so that'll be pretty interesting when Arya meets up with the Hound.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, right?
Like, I left you. You were dead. I left you. I saw you were dead, and now you're back. So is the mountain. So apparently it's a thing. So Jon tells Winterfell, "I'm leaving. I'm going. Daenerys has sent the Raven. This is a good idea. I need to go. I need to go do this thing." And nobody's with him. They're all like, "You can't go." Even Leanne Mormont, the one who's been standing up for him the whole time.
And they all made sense. I mean,
did.
what they were saying all made sense.
They did.
But his point of view, at least how I always took it, was, I've gathered you all believe me, we are here together, but we're not enough. I need to go get more.
Right, but they still don't, they don't get it. Nobody that hasn't seen the White Walkers, they
or
don't
the
get
army
it.
of the undead.
Right, they don't get it.
Right.
So, yeah, he's like, "I'm going," and Sansa argues with him in front of everybody again, and he's like, "Well, she's all, you can't go. You're the king. You need to stay here. You can't leave your kingdom." And he's like, "I'm not. I'm leaving it with you." So she got what she wanted.
Field promotion?
She got what she wanted. Littlefinger's getting what he wants, he thinks.
There's a great scene where Jon tells her that she's in charge, and she's standing up, kind of telling him, this is a bad idea, and he says, "No, you're in charge until I get back." And she kind of agrees. And the next shot is them looking at Littlefinger, and he has this kind of very subtle, sly smile on his face. And it's like, oh, I want to strangle him.
But then the next scene is Jon down in the mausoleum, kind of talking to his dad and, the ghosts or whatever, and Littlefinger's comes down there.
Yeah.
And they have, Jon basically stands up against the wall and says, "You need to stop thinking about my sister that way."
Pretty much. And he was also looking for confirmation of, at least you can at least say thank you.
Right.
For saving your ass to the Battle of the Bastards. Which, Littlefinger's right. He's completely right.
Jon has not done, he has not said thank you. He
hasn't said anything to Littlefinger until he tries to strangle him in the mausoleum.
Right.
And that's going to come back and bite him.
Yeah, I think so. I think he might end up, I don't know. And so then there was this weird scene with Arya, apparently heading back north with the wolves, and then Nymeria, but it wasn't Nymeria. And so, and I had forgotten, it's been so long, I'd forgotten, I was like, wait, is her direwolf still out there? And then Nymeria comes in, and I'm like, okay, her
with a pack. Not by herself, like a whole pack.
But then she talks to the direwolf and then basically says, okay, not Nymeria. So I don't understand what that scene was about.
I don't know.
It was kind of weird.
I think they're going to come in and save her at some point in time when something happens down the line.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's weird. I don't know. It was
a weird scene. Almost out of place for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I'm sure that it'll be something somewhere, but
once she makes the decision to go north, her story arc for the episode was done. And then there's this weird Nymeria direwolf pack of wolves scene. It's almost like a throw-in. But it wasn't
Nymeria. I mean, if it was, that would have made sense. It would be kind of like a coming home.
Yeah.
Because Nymeria, like, disappeared when she left. So, but, yeah, it was weird. And so then we're on the Greyjoy ships, and they're going. And I'm not really sure where they were going. I guess they were going to start this battle and
start the siege or whatever, the blockade or
yeah. I guess that's where they're going.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the ship there's booms and everybody runs up on deck, and Euron's he pulled a Star Trek.
That's totally what it was. I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's totally what he did.
He shows up with a bigger, badder Enterprise.
Yes. And, like, I'm boarding now and you don't have a fucking chance.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, this ship is like twice the size of theirs.
Yeah.
And they get boarded, and basically everybody gets killed. He maybe kidnaps Yara. I mean, he didn't. Theon had a chance to save Yara and kill Euron, and he didn't. I was yelling at the TV, grow your balls back. They didn't take his balls,
your chance.
Yeah, and he didn't.
But the thing about that scene was it wasn't like he was not fighting, like cowered in the
totally
corner.
fighting.
He was totally fighting, and here was his chance to do something to help, like, really help his sister, and he chose to flee, and he drops his sword and jumps in the water.
Yeah, I mean, he's still broken. You can still see that he's broken, and she, that was the conversation or the little speech that she gave him in the last episode. Was it last episode or was that last season? When she said, this is your chance to, if you're gonna be here for me, you need to be here for me. If you're not, you need to leave.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm here for you. And then it just got too much, and so he jumped off the ship and left her with Euron, and then they also got Alara Sand, the Dorian queen. I guess she's queen now since she killed her brother.
Now. Yeah.
Killed all 3 of her daughters, but got her. So she's the present.
That would make sense because she's the one that killed Cersei's daughter.
Yeah. So
that would make sense. However, there's that scene with Tyrion's bobbing in the water, and there's 2 bodies on the bow of the ship.
Those are her daughters.
Was that the daughters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the outfits, all of their outfits looked very similar, so that's why I was like, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it was the daughters because the one was hanging from her whip.
Oh, that's right. That makes sense. Yeah. So that was I was a little confused because all 4 of them, their outfits were very similar to each other.
Yeah.
And I saw the 2 of them, but you never really see their faces, so I was just trying to figure out.
Yeah, no, I don't think they'll kill her. I think she's going to be the present. But then he's got Yara too. So now their little blockade is not going to happen because now they don't have any. Well, I guess they still have ships, but they don't have the Greyjoy ships, right? Because it looked like he pretty much destroyed all of them.
Right.
So I don't know where that's
first major blow is thrown, and it's what's his name? Euron is the one who does it. So he's going to be able to go back to Cersei and say, I've done this for you. I've done this for you. Here's your present. Oh, by the way, here's another present. He's gonna be able to walk in there, even more cocky than he was before.
Yeah.
And there's actually in the preview, it's him riding the horse to a ticker tape parade. Like, yep, I'm a badass. I did all those things for you. La la la. And it's like. Yeah. I think that's going to come back and bite him too.
Oh yeah, he's a couple people last week were talking about how he's the new bad guy, but different. He's the new Ramsay, but different.
Someone to hate.
Yeah,
he is someone to hate because of his arrogance.
Yes,
not because he's necessarily a quote unquote bad guy.
He's not peeling people's skin off.
He's not Ramsay. He's not Joffrey. He's not that like he's doing things to be a bad guy. He's just a cocky son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And that's why you're gonna hate him.
Yeah.
Because everything he's done has made complete sense, and really, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at war, is not bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It depends on what view of the world you look at it. If you're looking at it from one way, he's the hero. If you look at it the other way, he's the villain.
Yeah.
But you're gonna hate him because of his cockiness.
Right. So that was the end of the episode. The only other thing that we talked about was I'm noticing that Sansa's outfits are mirroring Cersei's more and more.
Yeah.
Which is interesting and weird because I mean they obviously haven't seen each other, but there's some parallels, and Sansa said that she kind of not idolized her, but but liked
appreciated the way how she was.
Yeah. So
she also kind of said she likes her as that strong-willed person, strong-willed woman, and she kind of views herself now as a strong-willed woman.
Yeah.
And kind of
and now she's queen
of the North.
So they're paralleling each other more and more.
And so you've got Littlefinger in there kind of whispering in her ear, kind of. So it overall pretty good episode.
Yeah, it was a good episode. I mean, it wasn't, other than the end, there was a big old battle at the end, but
right.
There wasn't too much that was shocking.
Nothing like last episode started off with a bang and then ended with a bang, and everything. This one was more of a, like I said when we started in the intro, much of a setup, kind of. It's like chess. You start the game. There's the first moves, and they're kind of positioning everything, and that's kind of what's going on now.
Yep.
If you think of Game of Thrones of a giant game of chess, it's actually a 3-way game of chess right now. But if you look at it that way, everybody's kind of moving their pieces and making alliances and doing their thing, and so this was the first major movement of pieces to get them in place before we get to the back half of the season, which we all know is coming.
Right.
The battles and everything. If you saw the trailer from San Diego Comic-Con, it's a minute long, but they show battle scenes. They show the armies getting ready, and they don't just show one army getting ready. They show multiple armies getting ready. So it's the battle for the Seven Kingdoms is coming. Oh, by the way, the White Walkers and the undead are all sitting up there above the wall, just waiting for their chance.
They're still coming. Yeah.
So there's. I can't keep track of all this stuff. This is why we take notes. So, what do you guys think of this episode of Game of Thrones? A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff to keep track of. Tell us what you think. Leave us a comment. Like this video. Tell us what you think of this episode. We'll continue to keep doing reviews of Game of Thrones each week. And please, we'll be posting to our Facebook, all this other things that we do. You can get a hold of us on Facebook at the Pop Culture Cult. We're Pop Culture Cult 1 on Instagram, and we're at Pop_Cult 1. We've also started a new partnership with this app called Stardust. It's an app where you can give short 30-second reactions to movies, TVs, trailers, whatever you like, and post them to Facebook and Twitter, and we are in partnership with them. They're going to help us out. We're going to help them out, that kind of thing. So if you do want to get into that, please go. You can find it on the Apple and the Android Google Play Store. Download the app. Like Pop Culture Cult first, and then go like multiple other pages like Schmoes, Collider, Late to the Party, and we can all share in our reactions and everything that we do together. Anything else?
Nope.
Until the next episode of Game of Thrones, good night now.